That I think a lot about, especially in entrepreneurship, around like having the right principles invested in you, right? It's like if you know how to operate like a financial model and you know how to market, like, or you know how to reach out to a bank and ask for a loan, right? These are all like these skills that you learn when you're building a business, but no one really talks about like the personal skills and the kind of like mental health skills that you have around entrepreneurship. And I feel like for me, that was like my greatest liability was, I'm not saying that I was like lacked mental health, but what I'm saying is that whenever you're out there figuring yourself out and you're trying to like create a path for yourself and see if you're working in the right place, you often make decisions that are out of like emotions and needs, like spiritual needs that you have. And I feel like after I had this great experience and like the bust happened out here, I decided to move abroad to try to make things work out with someone I was dating, and a girlfriend of mine. And it didn't work out. I decided to leave. And that was like the first time that I felt like, oh, I made this decision for myself. I lacked this void that I felt like I needed. I didn't have the groundedness to like keep doing what I loved. I decided to like pursue that. And then you go through these iterations of like heartbreak and disappointment. And that could just my story. Like there's people that you do that. It could be choosing the wrong business partner.
Yeah.
It could be being in the wrong industry, working for the right company, having the wrong customer, having the wrong business partners. There's just a lot of specifics in the iteration of like that core groundedness, confidence, and like self-worth that you need to have and bear as an entrepreneur to deal with the uncertainty. So.
Out west where the sun always beams bright, Midland skies keep the hustle in sight. BAM Consultants got the blueprint intact. For dreamers on the grind, they got your back. Championing dreams from the ground to supreme, providing that spark, igniting the team. Marketing flow strategies that glean. BAM in Midland, building your dream. They teach the
Bam! All right, we have a special one here today, folks. As always, Miss Gina Lewis.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And we have a very special guest today. It's going to be a great conversation, Mr. Jose Ortega. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome. As I said, I just have a 5-month-old at home, so it's been sleepless. But also with company.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you.
I would be totally fine if you did both. It's been a lot, but it's been good. First kid, so I'm doing great. I just moved back to Midland back in December after being in Austin for 5 years.
Nice.
And was here before then, and really glad to be back. So lots of focus, lots of the ecosystem here is just really conducive to people that want to work hard and hustle and build things.
Yeah.
There's like not a lot of noise when it comes to other things because the city's very industrial, and I think people enjoy that about being here. So I've loved it. Not to say that Austin's not a place that's entrepreneurial and people are working, but there's definitely a lot more distraction.
A lot more going on.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, there are so many amazing things about Midland. For the people in the back, Midland is a great place to do business.
100%.
Yeah.
We're always in like the top percentage in the country of business ownership, entrepreneurship,
Absolutely.
startups. From our perspective of what a startup is, right? Because it's different.
Income per capita.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a great place to have a business, to be an entrepreneur, and really to build what your vision, right? What do you want out of life? Well, I mean, here's a great place where you can put those building blocks together. You know,
Yeah.
I'd say Austin because I lived in Austin as well for 12 years, and it's a great city.
So fun.
Oh,
You
yeah.
could do all the innovating and the networking, but also the outdoor activities and
Yeah.
nightlife and
There where it's very creative, right? Like it's like an artist kind of dream, right? You can really explore, you explore city, meet people from everywhere, but really when you go there, you get to push yourself outside of your comfort zone really on a daily basis, and you get to explore yourself. Like I'm excited because my daughter's moving there, right? And I'm so excited for her to get to. So not because of the location or she's going to go somewhere else, but she's going to go get to find herself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a great
You
place
know.
to do it.
Yeah, that's where I like to say I
Yeah.
grew up. I didn't move there until I was 21, but I really felt that I became an adult there. You know, like I grew up in
Yeah.
Austin.
Very cool.
Yeah, I got to explore all kinds of myself that I didn't. But yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
The Jose Ortega.
Yes.
You have no idea how many people are like, you have to meet Jose. And I'm like, everyone knows Jose. Why don't I know this Jose? And it was so nice. I reached out to you, I think on LinkedIn, and you were like, absolutely, let's meet. Sat down and had a conversation. So yeah, tell us about the Jose Ortega.
So, well, I think what it started about myself is I grew up in West Odessa, and mother was an immigrant from Mexico, picked melons in Pecos. My dad was a construction worker. And I've always just had an interest in other things in science and in music. So I was really into academics and math and science, and I played guitar.
Awesome.
So I just was always very creative and curious, and didn't really let kind of the circumstances that I was in ever be a factor. I think like that was the beautiful thing about growing up in West Texas is like because I was active and participating, people around me just made me feel like I was welcomed, right? So I feel very grateful for the values and the culture out here. And yeah, so you didn't have anyone really to mentor me. And my teachers told me to apply to college, so I called Texas Tech out of my physics professor's closet. And
I'm assuming that was a corded phone back then.
that was a corded phone back
Oh,
then,
yeah.
And
Boop, 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 boop.
and I asked the lady who answered to how do I apply, and she helped me, and I got in, and that's the only school I applied for, and that's the only one I went to. So
This
Nice.
is Texas Tech.
yeah,
Yeah. in
so yeah, it was great experience, engineering student, and
what kind of engineering?
I studied civil engineering,
Civil engineering. Fair.
civil and environmental, and I studied abroad in Prague. So in 2010,
Oh, wow.
15 years,
What?
I went to the Czech Republic. I was 20 years old.
Wow.
And that just opened my eyes to like
Yeah.
all these cultures and people and world, and I just became very curious and had this insatiable appetite to explore. And I met a recruiter for Schlumberger, and I helped store a bunch of fried chicken in my pickup truck for a recruiting event, and she liked me and she gave me an interview, and I wasn't like the sharpest kid, but I showed up
Yeah.
and served her, right? So she returned the favor. So I think when I was in the recruitment program for that, it was like several hundred of us in Oklahoma. I think out of like 150 engineers that got hired, there was only like 10 of us that went overseas. So I did. So in 20,
It was through
Schlumberger.
Schlumberger that
Yeah.
you were able to go to Prague.
no, it was actually through my study abroad program.
Okay.
That's-
What role did you land at Schlumberger?
Yeah, so I got hired as a frac engineer.
This was from bringing chicken to an event.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
This is the stuff
gold,
I
right?
love.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can't tell you how many people won't walk into a door because it's not their level.
Yeah.
But when you know what you bring to the table, bring the fried chicken and show them.
Yeah. No, it was, I mean, I think like I definitely was like a problem solver, and I consider myself always have hyper focus on solving problems. I think like math and pattern recognition, studying music, like it's, when you listen to musicians, like there's a lot of practice, a lot of iteration, there's a lot of grit. So it's always been part of core of who I was, playing in mariachi and singing guitar.
Wow.
And in fact, one of those mentors is a Midlander named Albert Madrid, who's a guitarist here. And he just played downtown at the 4th of July event.
Wow.
Seeing him there on like social media and just seeing him perform is like, that's the guy that really invested in me.
Yeah.
One of them.
Awesome.
So I brought fried chicken to an event because they needed help providing food for a recruiting event. They were running late, and I was one of the organizers there, and they called me and I went and helped them, and they were super grateful and invited me to go get a drink after. And I met some recruiters, and they said, we like you, we're going to give you an interview. So
How it's done.
yeah, that completely changed my life. Like I
Wow.
went to Argentina when I was 20
For
for Schlumberger.
Okay.
And I was a frac engineer there and lived 500 miles from the south of the most southern point in the world before Antarctica.
Oh my goodness.
And it was great. I learned how to frac over a bunch of conventional wells, historical wells, not horizontal wells. which I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people here and listen to this probably know what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
yeah.
But yeah, like it was no phone, 5 hours on the road, no internet, just me and the crew that I was working with for 2 to 3 years. That's what I did.
Yeah.
You had a
So,
lot of time to think,
yeah,
listen to your thoughts.
exactly. So I feel like that was so powerful because I became an expert at what I did. I had a lot of iteration and problem solving out there, and it showed. So like really naturally, like our frac crew had like 1.5 sets that we were fracking with, and by the time I left, we had 6. So just me and another engineer had like 4x the business,
Wow.
Incredible.
and we didn't really know. We just were doing what we were
Yeah.
hired to do, and
Excited.
excited to be out there, and just we were just like Vikings going from one well to another.
I
And
love that. You brought the energy and that pays off.
it did, yes. I felt like that. I didn't realize like how fundamental that experience was, but also like when you're working internationally, you're not exposed to the same labor laws. They work you like a slave,
Yeah,
but when you're 21, you can handle it.
Yeah.
absolutely.
So-
And willing to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was really great. And I came back, and another gentleman invested in me named James Carroll and ConocoPhillips, and I became a frac superintendent with him at like 24 years old.
Oh
Nice.
my goodness.
And the first like 30 wells that Conoco did out here, I was helping manage them. So there were crazy budgets, all this tech, and I didn't know that we were at the cusp of
Yeah.
2014 like growth of the Permian from
Yeah.
unconventional. So
I love that
And
story.
at 24.
Yeah, at 24. Yeah. Just a connection. So my father worked for Conoco for 38 years.
Wow.
He was the first Latino in the area to be to perforate and frack back in the 80s when perforating was the way to go, right? I perforated my own well when I was 12. I was in the van with the
Yeah.
headphones and
Labor laws were
exploding.
also different back then.
So
Here in the
that's
States.
right. It's an amazing connection right there. Conoco is like embedded in my family,
Yeah.
for decades for that, man.
yes, they invested in me, and the bust in 16 happened. And I think there's a couple things that you were talking about earlier around like your daughter finding herself
Yeah.
that I think a lot about, especially in entrepreneurship, around like having the right principles invested in you, right? It's like if you know how to operate like a financial model, and you know how to market, like, or you know how to reach out to a bank and ask for a loan, right? These are all like these skills that you learn when you're building a business, but no one really talks about like the personal skills and the kind of like mental health skills that you have around entrepreneurship. And I feel like for me, that was like my greatest liability was, I'm not saying that I was like lacked mental health, but what I'm saying is that whenever you're out there figuring yourself out and you're trying to like create a path for yourself and see if you're working in the right place, you often make decisions that are out of like emotions and needs, like spiritual needs that you have. And I feel like after I had this great experience and like the bust happened out here, I decided to move abroad to try to make things work out with someone I was dating and a girlfriend of mine. And it didn't work out. I decided to leave. And that was like the first time that I felt like, oh, I made this decision for myself. I lacked this void that I felt like I needed. I didn't have the groundedness to like keep doing what I loved. I decided to like pursue that. And then you go through these iterations of like heartbreak and disappointment.
Yeah.
And that could just my story. Like there's people that you do that. It could be choosing the wrong business partner.
Yeah.
It could be being in the wrong industry, working for the right company,
Right.
having the wrong customer, having the wrong business partners. There's just a lot of specifics in the iteration of like that core groundedness, confidence, and like self-worth that you need to have and bear as an entrepreneur to deal with the uncertainty. So I feel like even though I had the academics and I feel like I had the grit and I had the willpower to like do, and I still do, like I feel like I can outwork most people on my teams because it's just the way I'm built.
Right.
But what it came down to was like the emotional resilience that I needed to endure uncertainty. Like it took me a while to build that, right?
Can I ask you about the strategy you used? You said you moved abroad for someone you loved. And did you have like a career that you found over there, or did you just jump headfirst?
I jumped head first.
Wow.
Like
Scary.
yeah, for sure. So I'd, done it once when I was studying, when I just went over abroad for a year or so. Then I did it again just because I wanted to try this out.
Yeah.
And I had got to like the final interview with McKinsey. If McKinsey would have hired me, I'd probably still be down there.
Wow. Yeah.
right?
Wild how life works out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it would have worked. Probably I would have maybe left later, right? I don't know. But I moved back and I left because I know that I wanted more for myself. That's really why I left.
Good for you for having the courage to stand on that.
For sure. And that was not easy. Like, I'm okay. I just risked everything to be here. Now I know I don't want to be here and I want more for me and I'm going back. So, next target was like business school. And as I got some acceptance letters into some really wonderful schools, I then ran into somebody that actually my best friend, who actually grew up in West Odessa from me, also from very humble backgrounds. He got into Harvard Business School. And as he was going to there, he introduced me to some folks that he was going to be a student with. And they were building companies out here. So the first entrepreneurial endeavor was actually my friend who got into business school, who introduced me to one of his classmates who was leaving a company and they were looking for someone else. And then I joined that company when I was 26. I became COO and then we raised $75 million.
Wow.
So
That's incredible.
your
network is
Yeah.
yeah, and I think it's also like the people that you treat well and that you make relationships with want to invest in you too.
absolutely.
And I did that by showing up to an event in college, and my friend who I trusted and served, and we've been friends since preschool, saw that I was capable and wanting more, so he made me an introduction to that. So
The lesson is be nice to people in college. You don't know where they're going to be 20 years down the line and who they'll connect you with.
oh no, for sure, like be nice to everyone that you can to, and like that's the thing that I'm going back to, the emotional maturity of what allows you to become an entrepreneur, allows you to be someone who gets to decide how you contribute value to the world. Because if you didn't have like a safe home and you didn't have emotional support, and that makes you insecure and it makes you be an asshole to somebody whenever you're at school, well, those people that you grow up with, like, oh, that person was mean to me or they mistreated me, I'm not gonna
Right.
those people don't attract. Just the other day I had like an issue with this like sudden blood pressure in my eye. I was in the mountains with my wife and my daughter, and I texted a friend of mine that I hadn't talked to in a few years, who went to high school with, who's an optometrist. And on a Sunday,
Yeah.
as she's getting on a plane with her 4-year-old, when she's on vacation, she calls me and says, "Hey, great to hear from you. So good to hear from you. Of course, I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
This is what's going on."
Love it.
Right. And it's like, because I was a friend and I was kind,
Yeah.
she was willing to help me.
For
sure.
Right. So I think that like, if I didn't have like at least like one core parent in my life, because I feel like my mom really was my superhero in that, showing me enough nurturing to make me or to inspire me to be a good human.
Yeah.
I was able to do that often enough in my life. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's people out there that in different phases in your life, whenever you're suffering, that you're not always a good person, right? That you make decisions or you treat people. But I've always had the willingness to want to improve myself and rectify that and be better, right? And I think that that's what matters. But ultimately, yeah, I like feel like enough emotional resilience from my upbringing and also enough from my experiences and how I interpreted my experiences.
Yeah.
Not allowing those bad experiences to create resentment and hatred in my soul, to move on, to be ready for the next level.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And I think that that's like the unspoken law of entrepreneurship. It's like, how many times do people miss out on opportunities because they didn't have like the emotional willpower or the nurturing internally for them to like make the right decision in the moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Discernment is a huge part of that, right?
Yeah.
And you can only be discernful if you like the waves not as muddy, right? Like it's when you're still right?
Steady.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you can really, really make the right decision.
For sure. And after I got this job and I was here in
Just to recap, you were 26.
26 years
as
old.
a COO, raising to
Yeah, so we raised $75 million
$75 million.
in 2017 to build a water midstream company here. And within a year and a half, the landowners that we were working with really had enough leverage to change the circumstances we were in. And also the CEO that I partnered with was just wildly differently, and did business differently. So it was something that came to an end for me, but I proved the value. I did that. I had that experience.
Lessons learned.
Exactly. So like getting to go through that and still getting to an exit, but it not outcomes that you wanted, learning about that failure and learning through that experience whenever you personify certain dreams and realities, and knowing that that's ended and having the courage to learn and keep going after that.
Yeah.
That's also where entrepreneurs are made.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that after that, like it was such a great experience for me. I went and started another midstream business here that I'm part of now, 7 years ago. Blended from an OFS business, Terra Oilfield Services with Terra Midstream. I'm a partner there, and I've maintained that business and my activity there, and still do. Just met with some clients today, but on top of that, that's like not all what I do now. Now, I do other things. Even when I moved to Austin in 2019 to start a couple tech businesses or be a part of a tech startups, I was still maintaining my oil and gas activity, keeping always a foot in the door on a part-time basis. So 2019, I moved to Austin. The same friend that introduced me to the company, 75 million.
Yeah.
He graduates from Harvard Business School, and he introduces me to another company that hires me, called Revel out of New York. They had raised $30 million to launch Teslas and mopeds on an app to build electrical infrastructure, and I was the head of Texas, and it was awesome. So I got to Austin. I had 1,500 mopeds on an app, and everyone's like, who the hell is this? So I got to meet the folks, like every major VC fund that was in this mobility space, the startup ecosystem, the founders of Favor, all the startup accelerators.
Yeah. Wow.
The head of, the UT innovation system. So just within a year, I became like this new kid on the block because everyone saw the mopeds on the street all the time.
Yeah.
Right? This was pre-COVID, when tech, like stories like that were still a little bit more rare.
Right.
So I had an incredible time.
Got to run around Capital Factory.
Got to run around Capital Factory.
Fun. That's a great place.
Yeah,
Tell me your
love
line
it.
of thinking when you accepted that role. The vast majority of people would have heard that opportunity and said, I've never done that before. I'm not qualified to do that. What was your mentality when you accepted that?
Yeah, I didn't have like an insatiable appetite to solve problems and provide value. And even though I love what I'm doing in oil and gas and the water midstream space, but the market was maturing and I was becoming complacent about what I was doing.
And you recognize.
And I recognized that. And I was like,
Yeah.
and at the same time, my wife had got into school. So I needed to be in Austin. So girlfriend at the time. So one, I had an incentive to go closer to her. Two, I recognized that my entrepreneurial soul was not satisfied. And then three, I felt like after what I've gone through, like it feel like something that I was not capable of. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like the way us humans are programmed and wired is like having had an experience before is like the most optimal way for us to decide doing something, right? Two examples of that for me was my wife and I, when our daughter was 2 months old, we took her to Mexico on a plane with my mom. We were in a wedding. It was brutal. Like I'll tell you right now, 51% don't regret it. 49% I do. But we ripped the Band-Aid off, and then now taking the car 4 hours to the mountains with the baby versus going international is nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you
Right.
just
No.
throw in a car seat with
Exactly.
your foot while you're holding the door and the baby.
Exactly. So it was like ripping off the Band-Aid,
Yeah.
right? So I feel like that had to do something for it.
Yeah.
Is that I had ripped the Band-Aid a lot. But like what I find is like when I was dating before I was married, I felt like when something didn't work out with someone, I would be really grateful. I'd do my best to reach out to the people if something like didn't work out, or if I had something that I did wrong, to apologize. And then I would like, okay, that sucked. That was horrible. Like, or you know what? I messed up. I probably should be better. Whatever the situation was, I always got back out there and started like, okay, I learned from that. I'm going to give myself maybe a month or 3 months or half a year, depending on how emotionally invested I was,
Sure.
Right.
and get back out there. Right. So
Gotta lick your wounds. Keep
exactly.
up.
So I feel like for like someone who grew up from like West Odessa, who very poor background, and there's very wealthy people out there too. I know a lot of them.
Sure.
I've always had to do that.
Yeah.
I've always had to
Get back
show
on the
up,
horse.
get up on horse, and I always had to show up and like execute on uncertainty.
Execute on
That's a golden one right
uncertainty.
there. That's nice. Yeah.
This episode of Bam Biz Talk is brought to you by Flash Mobile. Whether you're managing your business, chasing your dreams, or just handling life on the go, Flash Mobile gives you nationwide for GLTE coverage. No contracts and total freedom, all at a price that makes sense. Activate your plan in minutes. Bring your own device. Stay in control wherever life takes you. Contact us and make the switch today. And now let's get back to today's show.
I think that when I accepted the role, I was like, these guys are well funded. What they're doing just didn't seem that hard to me. I'm going to learn about tech, and they need someone with operations experience. I understand the market. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And it was
go.
incredible. And
Yeah.
we got to South by Southwest 2020. About a year and a half in. We had an activation event with what's a record label that has Dr. Dre on it?
Under Interscope.
Interscope Records. Man, you're a good music fan knowing that.
Yes, sir.
He's the
So,
man with the answers.
Interscope Records, we have an activation deal where we're going to have one of their artists come and perform on our stage with our rebels there. I have a contract in writing. I'm negotiating with the University of Texas to put the mopeds on campus.
Awesome.
I already had a deal with Favor
Yeah.
to all the Favor, like basically the Door Dashers, but for Favor to use the mopeds.
Yeah.
And I had another contract that I was working on with a park to have them all parked at the parks.
And back in Chat GPT, you can be like, hey, I need some ideas to
Yeah,
outgrow
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Like, what do you meditate? What do you do to kind of energy and the creativity flowing?
Yeah, so I think it's just iteration,
Yeah.
right? It's oh crap, there's a lot of people getting out of the bars. We're gonna go put the mopeds here.
Yeah.
And you see how many people don't like. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, who are they? Where are they running? Oh, you know what? Those guys in this neighborhood every morning they pick them up. Let's go interview these tech guys at work and why they're like, yeah. I calculated like owning a car is $3,500 a year and riding this moped's $1,200. I'm saving $2,000. I'm gonna ride the moped.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you guys know what you're doing. Where can I
Yeah.
find more of you? So I think like studying and understanding why things happen. And I feel like I've just been very like the engineering background and also that experience in like oil and gas. It's like people underestimate oil and gas engineers all the time. They're very data driven. So I feel like applying principles of like A/B testing and like first principles of like identifying and iterating is like where you mine your most solutions. It's like people are like, oh, should I have an event or should I post something on Facebook? I'm like, no, it's like marketing is an experimentation. And you have a product and you have a service that's a product. And in order to get conversion, you have to experiment.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So we did that, and we
Doesn't mean
figured-
it's perfect every time. Doesn't
Exactly.
mean no mistakes will be made.
without a doubt. And it's not gonna, and it doesn't mean that you won't spend money. So it's always important to always study like who's your, I'll get down to the technical startup terms. Who's your ideal customer profile? Where do they hang out? How can you get to them? How can you get feedback? And how do you focus on those channels that are going to drive the most growth? Right.
In that role, did you feel empowered to make mistakes and fix them? Or
Absolutely.
any fear of making mistakes?
No, I mean, at the time we had to raise money. We were raising more. And we were launching markets.
So that fell forward,
And
fell fast.
that fell forward, fell fast. Don't people do think that there was probably, I'm going to say irresponsible spending,
Sure.
but there was like an assurance of more capital will come.
Yeah, you've got a safety net
Yeah.
to kind of experiment, and learn those lessons and fix
Yeah.
it for the next runway.
Exactly. So there's like I have a whole theory and like thought on tech in general, both the good and bad, because I did it. I think I'm one of the few people that have built companies in oil and gas and in
Yeah.
mainstream
Yeah.
tech
Yeah.
that I know. I mean, and there are people out there that I have, but we experimented. We figured out that we were not going to get people on the consumer side to adopt. New York is different. Good luck. Like if it's cold and you get to the subway and you have to take a train another 30 minutes, if you can just jump on a Revel and get there 15 minutes and end your like misery
Yeah.
and reduce your New York are incentivized to get on mopeds. So marketing spend to get activation is not as necessary. But in a city like Austin, when you have 75% car ownership,
Yeah.
we needed to have partnerships.
Right.
So we iterated, we experimented, and we sucked as much juice out of we could of like just direct to consumer that we had partnerships. And what's the best partnerships? People making food deliveries, students going to class, people going and enjoying the park. So we were like a month away from breaking even, and then COVID hit and completely wiped us out. So this is like, again, like, okay, this is the second time of a startup that doesn't
Where
go
it
so
didn't
well.
go-
Exactly.
Or envisioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking for another job to the 23. My wife's getting to clinicals. We just bought a house in New Braunfels. Love New Braunfels.
Yeah.
So much fun. But my wife says the sidewalks roll up at 9:00 every night. So
Yeah, that's true.
so if you're in your 50s, it's great. If you're in your 30s and 40s, you probably want a little bit more excitement.
Yeah.
So I get a call from someone who introduced me to a guy named Peter Rex. And Peter Rex is a billionaire who moved from Seattle to Austin to launch a startup ecosystem. And I'm working there, still managing Terra, my accounts there, my contribution there. So I have income coming in. My wife's in school. And I get hired to be part of the startup. And this is when I first get introduced to machine learning and AI.
Ah,
So we built a model. So you have 200, 300 multifamily units, right? And usually contracting companies go and take those contracts from those multifamily units. So a contractor will have it, they'll keep all the profits, and they'll hire workers 15, 20 bucks an hour to go do all the work, cleaning, painting, etc. So what we did is we gigafied it. We took the contract, we put it on an app, and anybody who was a painter could show up to an apartment and they would get paid per the job. So instead of you getting paid 15 bucks an hour to paint a house, you paid 500 bucks.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it grew like wildflower.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite stories that you have is that story.
Okay, thank you.
Gigifying and bringing the money to the person who's actually doing the work.
Yeah, and I mean that's what happens with tech a lot, right? Like if you think about what happened with Instagram, like, and I'm not a fan of young people chasing influencer as a job. Like they're like 1 in 3 Gen Zers think that they can be an influencer, yet only 1% of them actually make more than 50K a year.
Or
Yeah.
willing to work the 27 hours a day that
Yeah,
it takes
exactly.
to do that.
Well, that's more and more of my millennial values that I share with you.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
but my point being is like for the ones that are making money, the marketing firms, some of the wealthiest people I know in Austin are people that own marketing firms that happened before social media,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
so yes, decentralization by taking it and making it access is like was a big play in the 2010s, right? So we did that, and what we realized is our software that was managing all that, instead of depending on to decide which vendor, which workers to send to which properties,
Right.
we had a machine model tell us, and it got so bad that when we were doing it manually, that people were sending the wrong vendors to the wrong place because this person liked XYZ and this person liked this. So I was in there managing it for a while, and it was a lot of work, like a dispatcher.
Right.
Imagine like 150 vendors to like 50 properties
I kind of
managed by
picture
one person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I'm picturing you like the dispatcher, like a Bugs Bunny, you know. And it's,
Yeah. So we had a software and we had like automation.
Yeah.
But that was impressive because we realized is like, okay, managing this well because I kind of understand and like can move quick and have been in this environment before well enough. But then whenever they build a model and I go into a room and I said, okay, this is what I would send. What does the model say? The model would spit it back out. And it matched for a while. And then
That's
after
how you tested it.
Yeah, and then after we trained it, it gave me different suggestions than I thought. Maybe like
Okay.
20-30% margin of error.
Okay.
And when it got implemented, the quality went up
I was about to say, was it better than who you would
It was
have picked?
better.
It matched better.
and matched better. But the same thing is like, even if it did as good as I did or a little bit less,
The
it's
time.
scalable.
Yeah,
right.
It's scalable. Like it can do it for more me.
At the
absolutely.
same
Right.
time, yeah.
So that's what AI is, right? Is really like
Scaling and
is like
efficiency.
Exactly. It's like you train a model to do something that a human did super, super well, but then you add 100x the productivity to it.
It's an exponential.
It's an exponential like
Force
computational output
multiplier, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
applications, right? So
Right.
we grew that business to like 300K a month, and we raised a bunch of money. And instead of taking VC money, instead of the money being used for that startup, the managers decided to start 10 companies.
What?
And
What? You all like came together?
well, we
And
was like
decided
maybe
to do
there was
this
like
together?
10 or 20 of us that were at the first startup doing well, and then after kind of everyone was getting into tech post COVID, we were then told, okay, instead of us taking this VC money, grow this one thing that's working, which was a mistake, by the way, because our competitor that was behind us is now $1 billion, like
Really?
a $1.5 billion company.
So looking back, you think the idea to band together and start 10 companies was a mistake?
1,000%.
Okay. I mean,
Yes,
it could have not been a mistake though.
that's true.
So it's hard to know because my thought when you first said that is you have people banding together to start 10 companies. If one of those is successful,
You just need one to go off.
you just need one.
Yeah. So in theory, it all makes sense, but that's the difference. I would say, like, if the thing about tech is like, yes, it's very scalable if it works, but getting it to work and getting it the right people to scale is like where creates like the like Lion King elephant death farm that you see in Austin right now.
Yeah, I think that was the Paul Graham conversation that we had. The he was Y Combinator, right?
Yeah.
And he was saying you have to have A players.
Yes.
You
Yes.
spare no expense to find the right people.
And that's the thing is like whenever you go in 3 months, You go from like people who hire 120. It's very tough to get A players.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he mentioned that too. You're not gonna have all A players,
Right.
but
Yeah. So I think it was a theoretically good idea, but in practice, managing that much, having the right decisions, making sure that the value change was happening, the management and the expectations was way ahead of the actual value being built. Right? It's like you have 10 ovens and you're trying to bake as many as you can, but instead of waiting for the pies to bake, you're actually just taking stuff out and pouring more batter into one thing. And by the end of the day, you're just going to have a bunch of half-baked
Yeah.
pies. Right?
Yeah. And every time you open the oven door to
it's
check it,
taking longer.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
so that's what happened there. And to be fair, there was out of the 10 products, 3 or 4 of them were working. I would say mine was probably the fourth.
Successful.
I would say like fourth feasible because there was an insurance product that was super great. There's a data product, and regardless, like this is all just like my own experience. But
Sure.
what I learned from there is I was at the X-Men Academy of Tech Builders. We had the chief
like
architect.
that.
We had the chief architect of the Weather Channel who architected that. He also left over in Calendly. You know
Yeah, Calendly.
the architect of
Wow.
Calendly.
That's the hey, book some time with me, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you just click on the link.
Incredible story.
Scheduler.
Yeah.
$1 billion company. The guy only raised money to pay out him and his execs.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I didn't know
Wow.
that.
He only
Yeah, I
sold
know
like
that.
15% so that they could all cash out.
Wow.
Brilliant.
And anyways, like didn't work out. And Terra Oilfield Service is still going well. We just bought out the company from the private equity firm that owned us.
Nice.
Oh, good.
Um,
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
on that, man.
that was cool. Partner with some great people, and that I worked with for a while. But in this entire thing, like still like this tech and this entrepreneurial journey, still going for me, right? And now I'm involved in 3 ventures, Terra being one of them. A second one is we have an AI business with a Bitcoin miner that we're converting from Bitcoin mining rigs to AI GPUs. And we just got funding from a bank approved to buy our hardware.
Nice.
And then the third one is, thank you, we're building power platforms in the Permian with natural gas and gas generation to offer them to data centers in the hopes to get them here. So we've been working on raising capital for the generation and getting power generation partners, and we've got that. I think we have about 150 megawatts now that we're ready to go to
Great.
market with, and which is awesome. Like some very well established and really good entrepreneurs in the Permian are really, really trusting us.
Yeah.
And I think we're about a month away having everything tied up with the landowner so that they feel comfortable
Doing a data center.
and yeah.
You know,
So
that
it's-
it makes so much sense. The fact that we've been so hesitant to blend oil and gas with tech or with space, these industries play very well together and can build on top of each other.
Can I tell you why I think it hasn't happened?
Okay, tell me.
Yeah, so summarize my past, right, is like oil and gas guy, tech, had some success there, and now blending both,
Yeah.
right? So very blessed that in my mid 30s, I still have a lot more to go. And, I haven't found like the fuck you money success that,
Well, I hope you do.
thank you.
I see that in your future.
I appreciate that. But I still feel like I have enough resources and I'm very blessed. And, excuse me, my language offends people, but I just want to be candid.
Yeah. No matter what language you approve of, you should have some FU money.
Yeah. So, but I'm not going to be offended if you let out if there's young people listening to that. So if there is, please do.
They
yeah.
should also know how to build.
Yeah.
Especially the younger you are.
Yeah,
the
exactly. The more
you
risk
need
you
to know
have.
that,
Yeah. So, but I still feel like I've done well and we're in a position and I can take risk and still an owner in a business here. So I feel very satisfied with my life as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But the knowledge that I've gained.
Oh,
Right.
gosh.
I was going
And
to comment on the perspective that you have from being an oil and gas guy, then going tech, right? You have an extremely unique perspective just from operating in both those fields, right? Because I don't know of any other people that have that experience.
I mean, there's some great people doing it now. Like if you look at like what Digital Wildcatters is trying to do with their AI, like they just raised some money. I do think that generative AI is a tough business.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you have a good data set and you have some IP around the data set, then you'll
Yeah.
be fine. And you can understand that.
Absolutely.
But why I don't think people And I answer the question of like why I don't think it mixes well. So I'll answer that first, and I'll say like the differences between oil and gas and tech. So why I don't think a lot of these industries have mixed well really comes down to two things. It's one, it's like comfort in growing wealth with what you already know and you have leverage in.
Right.
So I'll just use an example. I'm not going to name names, but there's an entrepreneur in town, really good at oilfield construction,
Okay.
phenomenal at it, right? Getting them to get away from that instead of reinvesting more in equipment or manufacturing more things that they can manufacture, that they can cross-sell. It's just like they don't have to raise money. They don't have to de-risk. They can grow slowly. They're satisfied.
Yeah.
Everybody has this dollar amount that makes them happy.
Absolutely.
That makes them,
Everyone. Yeah.
everyone has life energy that they're willing to put in. So the barrier of entry to incentivize that person to do something riskier or different is much higher. Right. So that's the number one thing. The number one thing is, and they did this because like whenever we were doing business in 2017, I also was launching Bitcoin mining, and we did some, but we didn't raise money. We couldn't raise money because of this incentives. It's like, if I have oil well and gas that I'm producing and I have all these millions and I'm making these millions, why am I going to invest in like Bitcoin mining that's going to be profitable, but not as profitable as putting that money here? So like dollar is an opportunity cost, right? It's like, it's a difference between somebody who like wants to take care of their body. It's like, am I going to eat a donut every morning? Or am I going to go to the gym and like skip breakfast and have like lots of protein at lunch?
Are you saying Bitcoin is the donut?
100%. It's like, it's
I
also
like
the,
that
it's also
analogy.
the, it's also the incentive,
Yeah.
right? It's get fit. Why am I going to divert from what I know works, right? And I feel like it could be that, right? Because it's exciting, it's fun. So Bitcoin mining itself is like a specific example. It could have been something else,
Sure.
right? Because Bitcoin mining, institutional capital's just now getting behind it, so there was a lot of risk there.
Yeah.
But my point being is like, if you could tell a landowner that they're going to get a bunch of money because they're going to have to lease property for space for rocket launching,
Yeah.
and it's new and not many
They're
people live in it,
landers
or you're
testing.
going to have somebody who says, hey, I'm going to come put in a bunch of caliche pits and sell
Yeah.
them to the oil field. It's a tough thing to get
Right.
comfortable with, right? It's because of the opportunity cost. And then the other thing that I think is different is it's like competing incentives, right? It's like if I am an oil company and I'm a data center company and my gas is a waste stream and I need to get rid of it because and the oil company needs to sell oil, but the data center needs the gas
Absolutely.
because they need it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how do I work out a deal that the incentives match both sides? And today, the reason why you've seen Pennsylvania announce $60 billion of BlackRock money for data centers when they have less gas and less pipe infrastructure and more expensive gas is because they have their incentives aligned. That's the difference here.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And right now, there are a lot of landowners who have water and have surface rights. And when they have to originate an opportunity for a data center, they're not doing it in such a way that aligns with the incentives that the data center
Yeah.
will make them feel
Yeah.
excited. So it's about the accessibility of resources and people's willingness to play together, and also serving that market, right? So that's the thing. It's like, it's been a very, very interesting thing, but we're very close
Yeah.
to breaking
I
those
think we are.
barriers, and excited and very hopeful.
Yeah.
Hey there, bookworms and knowledge seekers. Ever wished you could find everything you need in one place? Look no further than the Ector County Library. We're not just about books, though we've got plenty of those, from the latest page-turners to classic favorites. We're talking free high-speed internet, tech classes to boost your skills, and awesome programs for all ages. Kids can dive into storytime adventures, teens can hang out and study, and adults can join book clubs or learn something new. There's always something exciting happening at the library. So whether you're a student looking for homework help, a job seeker needing resources, or just someone who loves to learn, we've got you covered. Swing by your local Ector County Library and see what we're all about. It's more than just books. It's a whole world of possibilities. Ector County Library. Your adventure starts here.
The BAM Biz Talk podcast is brought to you by our sponsor, Pachuco's Restaurant. Craving authentic and eclectic cuisine in Midland? Well, Pachuco's has you covered. Located in downtown Midland at the ever-so-legendary and iconic historic building at 316 North Big Spring Street, Pachuco's blends rich and unique flavors in a conveniently pleasant and vibrant atmosphere. Enjoy the highest quality barbecue, savory tacos, burgers, and a variety of other mouth-watering dishes that reflect the spirit of a true Pachuco cuisine. real, authentic, and just plain different. Check out their menu at www.pachucos432.com or call 432-218-8806 to inquire, or better yet, just show up and get your shine on at Pachucos, where heritage, exquisite taste, and hospitality come together for an unforgettable dining experience. Pachucos, Midland, Texas. Now back to the show.
You know, it's almost it. Well, it's not almost. It is it's here, right? And then it's like revealing that, right, so people can understand, you know, who do have the resources, the capital, the land,
Manufacturing. Well, yes,
everything
Yeah.
is here.
it's here.
You know, you're talking about the gas, that it's more expensive in Pennsylvania, right? Because they gotta, we need it all. We can't do with it, right? You know, and that's a fact, right? We know, people know that. It's a general thing that people know about here, right? But what do you do with it? You know, and then what you're doing here is like you're what I had mentioned before. It's a proof of concept.
Yep.
You're starting to build building blocks of the knowledge, right? It's the people see it and experience it. It's going to take some time. How can we accelerate that?
So if you've told a lot about your story, and I could think of a few words to describe you from what I've heard, but if you were to describe yourself in like 5 words, what words would you pick to describe you?
Yeah. So 5.
Sure. I just threw that number out there.
Yeah.
If you've got 10 like already memorized, throw
Yeah.
them out.
Well, I only would because I've invested in a lot of therapy, which
Yeah,
has been
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know if I'm going to use words because I don't think that, like, don't get me wrong, like I love words and symbology. If you haven't read like the Fifth Agreement,
We've talked
Yeah.
about that a bit.
the
Love that.
symbology, the Toltecs, oh man,
Yeah.
they got it figured out. But I think in a few ways would be, I feel like I am addicted to self-improvement, and prioritizing is really important to me. Like first it was like being least amount of liabilities for my wife and getting married, right? Having like a background with like, you know, unfortunately a traditional like blue collared family, alcoholic father, abusive father, that has impacts on you. And when you go to be with someone, there are things that are wired in you that you're like, well, hell, where did that come from?
Where did
Or
that come
why,
from?
Yeah.
why do I have that? So like being accountable and like reversing all that, like when I met my wife, I was like, okay, there's like ways that I'm approaching this that I know are liabilities to the future that I want, that are liabilities to like our relationship. And if I want to marry her and I want her to want to marry me, I need to change that. So like 2 years into like dating my wife, I went to therapy, right? Same thing for like my being a dad.
Yeah.
Right? Not having as much nurturing, not having a model of like a good father. I'm like, I'm gonna go to therapy to kind of work through these things and also pray. And I'm also very spiritual in my faith, like I'm a Christian, to want to be a good dad. So I feel like those are the 2 things that I've been really super focused on in terms of like self-improvement.
Yeah.
And then I feel like now that I feel good about my progress and the outputs there, I'm really getting now to my health and like nutrition and sleep and exercise so that I have less of a liability of my health as I get older. But like the insatiable appetite to want to always be better as an entrepreneur has always been there.
Yeah, that's a reoccurring theme among the founders that we've studied.
For sure.
Just learning and
Yeah.
growing.
100%.
But also the challenges, the obstacles you faced in your past. Almost every founder that we've studied has some kind of major obstacle in their childhood that they had to fight to overcome and leverage that for tenacity and determination. And that's a reoccurring theme with founders. That
Absolutely. You know, it's going through everybody has their own, the crucible, right?
Everyone has
What
their own
crucible impacted you,
Yeah.
informed you, right? And then you have a choice. You can either stick with that mold that you were formed in,
Yeah.
right? That you were
or you can
forged,
see it didn't work.
Yeah.
right? And then you can, if you have this self awareness,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what you're talking about right here. You had the self awareness to wait. Hold on, this was impactful. This forged me a certain way, but I am to intentionally go through that,
Yeah.
right? And explore yourself. So now you're growing because now you see something that's better, right? You're going somewhere. I've said this quote a couple of times, but your business or your endeavor is nothing more than your vehicle for personal growth, right? So these projects that you're in, the businesses and going through that, that's part of your vehicle, right? That you're using to grow and go after that FU money,
Yeah.
Your goals, your long-term vision, right?
Talk about a legacy too, though. He's not only an entrepreneur in business, but he's an entrepreneur in family as well, because his children's children will have a foundation that he built, and that's really cool.
I appreciate that. Thank you. That matters a lot to me. So
Yeah.
I feel like the type of entrepreneur that I am is like I'm a freedom fighter, like being able to be anywhere, doing whatever I want without the need of being located in one position, in one place.
Yeah.
So I feel like that to me is what the goal is,
Right.
is like be independent of location, of place, and really enjoy things on your own terms. I feel like you already have a lot of that, but doing it to a place where it's like absolute is like
Right.
the goal. But so that's kind of just to clarify, I see like what I kind of my internal mission there is like I'm a freedom fighter and entrepreneur. Two, 100% align on like the crucible comment and like internal, because I like reading the books, the first 5 to 7 years of childhood have such a massive impact on like who you are, and then also how you react to your life tribulations. The life tribulations and getting over those and processing them, like a lot of people who suppress feelings and emotions don't realize that how much debilitating that is, because actually processing the feelings and working through them, like our anatomy and our mind and our hearts are like, you have to go through that to actually surpass it and to be
Yeah.
controlled by it. So I feel like the stuff you experience in life is easier, but the stuff that you experience as a child, that takes a marathon of work to like overcome, right? And I think that I specifically have like my traumas was lots of financial insecurity, abusive father, emotionally abusive, physical abusive, and like violence, alcoholism, lots of shame. And also my mother had a lot of unworthiness that kind of got passed on. And like working through all of that to seeing how it impacts you,
Yeah.
and also taking those things as a skill and realizing how to use them. That like the
Right.
way I talk to like my therapist about this is, how did I learn to take these things that I depended on to deal with my pain and now use them as a tool freely
Yeah.
and with intention and purpose. So being able to
Almost a
actually
gratefulness too.
What's
Almost a gratefulness. I don't know
yeah,
if you feel
gratitude.
that way.
I do, yeah. A gratitude for the adversity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh gosh, what
And-
is that
and
Bible
appreciation.
verse? To give thanks in all things. Something about in trials you will be refined.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the Bible talks about that a
Yeah.
lot. But definitely in my childhood, I have such a gratefulness and an empathy for what my family went through and why they were the way they were, and why I can be different and why I choose differently. There's just a gratefulness there.
Without a doubt. And I'm so happy for you that you have that perspective, because choosing to be resentful from it and choosing to be hateful or feel entitled of it, those are like a very difficult lifestyle to manage, because ultimately
weight.
it's a liability. And
Yeah.
I feel like if you have the courage to look inside to understand all these things so that you're not controlled by this internal code that you have in your mind,
Yeah.
you are so much better prepared to deal with the uncertainty of life. Because when something comes that triggers you there, you're not going to automatically go to like where that code wants you to go.
Right. Are you a slave to it?
Exactly. And I feel like the more like you could put Donald Trump in front of me, you could put Putin. I'm not going to be intimidated with whoever's in front of me.
Like, do you know where I came
No,
from?
no, exactly. Well, I mean, yes.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like if I'm having a beer or mezcal, I will literally say that and laugh with
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
because that's 100% the way that I see it, and I laugh about it
hear
with my
that,
friends.
yeah.
But I'm serious. Like I feel like the more you understand your insecurities and like your lack of self-worth or whatever thing you have, the less when you encounter things in life that trigger that or are influenced by that, the more boundless you are by them.
I love that.
And like I feel like that to me is like the most strides I made in entrepreneurship, because I'm not showing up to like to satisfy an internal void. I'm not showing up to impress someone. I'm not showing up because the world said, oh, you need to have this job or this value because you needed it. No, I'm showing up because this is the value that I want to provide to the world. This is what I'm deciding to do. And I believe in myself, and I think I have the resources and I'm worthy to do it. And like when you're able to do that consciously, like that's freedom.
Right. Right.
And I feel like that's why you have so much idealization and so many people interested in entrepreneurship and so few people actually doing it,
Yeah.
Right.
right? Because it's a lot of work.
Golly, that should be the show. It's like entrepreneurship. It's a lot of work.
Right. And, you know, I've brought this up before. Right. And actually, I just brought it up in our last episode, which just this week, and we're recording it. And I thought that was synchronistically awesome right there.
Absolutely.
But it's the story of Sisyphus.
Yeah.
Right. It is the
that's a good
work
one.
itself becomes the purpose. Right. Sisyphus was by the gods. He was made to push boulder uphill
Punishment.
for eternity as punishment. But however, he said, "This is my purpose." So we found fulfillment in that. So entrepreneur in the work, we don't see it as, oh, I got to go to work. Oh man, I got to go. Is it 5 o'clock yet? You know, oftentimes we're like, oh, 5 o'clock was
Yeah.
5 hours ago.
Yeah, absolutely. This
You know,
is my gift to the world.
you
This
know.
is I'm getting better, faster, stronger, more efficient.
Yeah.
It's my gift to myself too. I mean,
Yes. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good way. It is. You know, because the work as purpose. You know, so that fuel there is what separates an employee from a boss, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And I think I agree, like a value in working towards providing a product or a service that's filled in purpose is one way to describe entrepreneurship. Like I think it's probably like the most healthiest form of it.
yeah,
But there are a lot of other entrepreneurs that are motivated by different things.
for sure.
that's true.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right. So I just think that's, and like investors tell me that all the time, like people that kicked out of companies who understand things, who or feel resentful and want to get back at them, like those sometimes are really good bets
Yeah.
because they just,
Yeah.
the justified
Absolutely.
righteousness,
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like
Success is the best revenge. So.
exactly right. So I think like that's important. Like I agree that purpose is a very undeniable methodology of entrepreneurship, and I don't want people to think who listen to this that's not the only way that people are motivated.
Could it be the how one defines purpose?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's how one defines their purpose, right? It's like without a doubt, right? Because like I feel again back to this time, this like meaning in words, like symbology of words.
Yeah.
Like purpose, I think, is always defined as something very positive and like
Noble.
altruistic.
Yeah.
But it's like not always that way.
Right.
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 Right. It could always be led by a different incentive or your emotional backing it.
Right. So, you know, I know you've all now the talk of the legend Michael Jordan, right? And say he's having a crappy night. Somebody says one thing that lights that fire, and all of a sudden he's going back to back, gets 50 for the night.
Yeah.
When he started out, you know, like a really crappy game. But it was because somebody said something, so he was trying to prove them wrong. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was
he was
with
trying
the vengeance.
to.
Yeah.
You know,
The vengeance.
right.
Absolutely.
Because he just wasn't in the mindset at the beginning of the game that he usually is.
I can't say I don't tap into that. I mean, my
Right.
overall purpose is not vengeance,
Mm-hmm.
but there are days when I will take, someone said I couldn't,
Yeah.
and I will eat the heck out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I tap into that every now and then. I don't know if you ever do as well, but
100%.
Yeah.
yeah. So you have all of these things that make Jose Ortega, and you've mentioned your mentors and allies are brought you to where you're at today. So can we kind of recap the mentors you've had? You have one in college who connected you a couple times to great opportunities. You had one at Schlumberger, right? And you had one at ConocoPhillips. And then the musician who played here, who continues to play here.
Yeah.
Any other mentors and allies that really shaped your journey, or
Oh yeah. I think teachers growing up.
your mom?
My mom, yeah. Yeah, so teachers in my childhood who see something and want to invest. So that happened quite a bit. So I was very fortunate to grow up in a time where that was more accessible. Maybe those teachers could make a better living, or it was a lot more socially valued. Whereas I think right now, a lot of public education, like from what my suspicion is that there's a lot of kids who don't have the same level of mentorship that I did.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot. And I was going to ask you, do you feel like there's a reason why you got the mentors that you did? You mentioned bringing fried chicken Like you showing up and being open and curious to learn and, willing to do what it takes. Do you feel like that's why mentors took you under their wing?
Yeah, I think
That was a
I
leading
think that was
question, by the way. In a court of law, they would be like, objection, leading the witness.
Is there something that I did to maybe attract that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like part of it's really funny. Like sometimes your insecurity leads you in like the generational traumas that you have. Like my mom had a really rough time at home with my dad and had a rough time growing up. And she would always tell me, like, emphasize about like school and like be involved. And I think like really early on, I realized that she was doing that because she was living vicariously to me, and it felt like a burden, right? So I feel like I've always like had kind of that like kind and like sweet pressure from my mom to like really do this for myself, but also internally like let my suffering be worth this for you, right? So I feel like subconsciously I picked up on that,
Yeah.
and
Oh, wow.
part of me, maybe was like more joyful, like more wanting to be a part and like more of a servant of the environment that I was, like as like, oh, I'm gonna be like do really good in school and like, oh, try to be friends with the teacher or like
Yeah.
try to be involved because of this like pressure or this like directive that I was getting.
Yeah.
So I think maybe part of it had to do with that.
Yeah.
Because later on,
That you had to not let your mom's suffering be in vain.
in that my outputs within the academic environment or school, so the school system had to be good enough to bring home to mom to be good,
Yeah.
right? Because her life sucked,
Yeah.
right? And it didn't always suck, but like she was suffering enough to want me to be a reason for her to validate that her suffering was worth it.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So
And on the surface level, you want to make your mom proud.
yeah, for sure. Like what Mexican kid doesn't
Right.
want to make his mom
Yeah.
proud? So I feel like later on, like I remember having an experience. I brought that up in front of friends and saying like that was something that I wanted to rid myself of, as like a 29-year-old male, that I recognized that I'd carried that for so long, right? So I think that yes, there are like things that there are certain insecurities and like certain things that adversities at home that drive you to be more active. That then the result is people invest in you.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay to sometimes like people don't really understand why at times, right? Like I feel like
Right.
a lot of people don't do that. But for me, it was that I like, oh, I had pressure better and like be involved. And I also really enjoyed people
Yeah.
because being at home, there was a lot of chaos. So I was like,
Right.
I got a lot of joy from like
It's being out.
being out and like hanging out with people and being involved in school and like meeting kids and meeting my kids' parents and getting a lot of validation from the environment.
Yeah.
So I feel like in a long way, having a broken home really incentivized me to get involved and seek mentorship outwards.
Yeah.
And that mentorship accessibility, like I just took it and applied it.
Yeah.
Right.
There are so many people that say, I didn't have a mentor. No one took me under their wing. I see that happen, in public schools. Some people get overlooked. And the way our system works, it's unfortunate, but you do have to be active in seeking out mentorship and open. And what I tell my son is serve and you will get in return.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so serve without asking or,
Yeah.
expecting anything in return. But that's the way our system works is
Yeah.
you give and it pours back into you. But my hope is that we find a system that works better for the people that don't have that ingrained in them or, that don't take that approach in their younger years. Because not every kid is going to stumble upon that knowledge for themselves. So we need to find a way to reach everyone.
Yeah. I have a lot of, like with my money plans, I have a lot of desire to get involved in that.
That does not surprise me.
In fact, I was very fortunate to be selected. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I can tell that this is something passionate for you too. Is TEDx 2026 here in Midland.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a speech.
Dude,
I got
awesome.
selected to talk about this topic.
I love it.
Oh, wow.
Cannot wait to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's around like the opposite of fix. A broken is not fixed, it's connected.
Broken is not fixed, it's connected.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to
Yeah, I think like that's why we're seeing such a big issue with young men in our economy
Yeah.
and our society. More depression, not as much productivity output,
Yeah.
lots more isolation. I think it's because there was cultural gaps that didn't allow a lot of young men to feel connected. The way that biologically a girl and a woman is more connected, right? And not to say that that's like the core reason,
Right.
but
And
I
it's
do.
not always that. I mean,
And
that's
it's
a
not always the
general
case.
statement, but that is true.
Yeah, in general, it is true. Like we as a society are more willing to connect with young,
Absolutely.
like I take my daughter everywhere, and like everyone wants like, oh, sweet girl, how can I help you? Like I'm gonna take care of.
Yeah.
But I think there's a portion with like a young child or a boy, you start to change that where they're like the society expects them, and if they're not emotionally mature enough, they just become so overwhelmed and they cannot like be the most optimal version of themselves in society. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with the United States right now.
Yeah.
But that's getting more of like the social impact and
Agreed. Yeah.
philanthropic interest that I have.
But it's a good point. And I think a lot of founders have that in common as well. There's another like why that's personal
Right.
or social that drives their growth in business as well. So you have these things that what make Jose Ortega you. You have these mentors, these allies. Are those, how do you say that mantra?
Mantras.
Mantra. Are there mantras that when you're struggling you repeat in your head to drive you, or
Yeah, like one of them recently is like focus on the signal, not on the
focus on the
noise.
signal, not on the noise? This should be a cybersecurity
Yeah.
thing for sure.
So I think like one thing that I find that I'm having had a hard time focusing and do have like complex, like I hate going back to like the psychology, but because I did a lot of work to understand myself, complex trauma, when you have complex trauma, your ability to focus on different things and be driven by different interests is harder. Like I have
Right.
a lot of interests,
Right.
and it's great as someone who like loves to consume in the world. Like I love my music, I make music, I perform music, I love traveling, and I love reading, and like for sure, like I probably watch like 2 hours of TV when I do it with my wife, and the rest of the time, if I'm consuming anything, it's more than likely like a podcast or
Sure,
Educational
something
program.
growth.
Yeah.
something to growth. Like that, like
100%.
80% is growth.
100%.
So
100%.
the mantras that I've adopted really are focus on the signal, not the noise, meaning that as an entrepreneur and as a business, like the companies that have done this best are the ones that have focused on like one value proposition and like focused on that over time.
And we just studied that.
And oftentimes like there are things that are signal and not noise.
Mm-hmm.
And like whenever you have different interests and like the way my mind is wired, it took me a while to learn how to focus on the signal. So I feel like and it's also one of the ways that entrepreneurs describe Steve Jobs and
Yeah.
Elon
Elon Musk. Yeah.
is like those guys are like the most focused on signal, right?
Yeah.
Because when you think about how they were able to drive so much value for like different companies,
Yeah.
Pixar and Apple, Elon with 3 different companies, it's because their ability to focus on outcomes and actions within their day, they're going to drive the most output.
Yes.
They're just super skilled at that.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's like the first like recent one. I would say one that's always been with me is like there's nothing noble in being better than your fellow man, only your former self.
Yeah.
Oh, you are your
yeah, I like
biggest
that one.
competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like that one's like true to my core.
Yeah. You don't conquer the mountain, you conquer yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other one that comes to mind just recently is like the things that we don't, I think this was, oh man, Freud? I forgot, psychologist, but it says the things that we don't bring from the unconscious to the conscious, we decide them to be fate.
Young.
Jung. Yeah.
Carl Jung is
Carl Jung.
he's such a wealth
Yeah.
of
Yeah, exactly. He is. I don't want to interrupt that because you are. I'm very impressed with your sourcing capabilities.
Yeah.
Like both from pop culture and now literal.
yeah,
Very, yeah.
philosophy.
appreciate
Philosophy. Yeah, very impressive.
Oh, it's incredible.
So yeah, I think like, yes, what I meant by that is like, it comes back to like this uncertainty thing, right? Around entrepreneurship. It's like you have a foundation of your upbringing, childhood, and life that gives you the willpower and the confidence to be able to consume uncertainty without being overwhelmed by it. Done a lot of work there.
Yeah.
But then whenever you feel like you're in a place that you're like, okay, like I continues to improve, I don't have my internal code as a liability to making the right actions. My entrepreneurial skill sets have given me the confidence as I walk through life to know how things are going to happen as I go into uncertainty. What I keep uncertain and I don't bring to my conscious, I don't want to call it fate. Because when you say something is fate, you're accepting that it's beyond your control.
Beyond your, yeah. Yeah.
So what I mean by that is why that's important is I don't believe, as an entrepreneur, you cannot believe that everything that is uncertain is fate. You always have to be willing to figure out if it's true or not. Right? A perfect example, this data center thing we're doing. We have this power, we have the right power partners, we have the land. Hopefully in a couple months, press release will happen. So there'll be more buy-in. People don't say I'm just BSing. And that's not matter. It does not that matters, but just the reviewers, like, there'll be press releases soon so you can see that this thing is tangible and real. But my point is that if you are driving something that is uncertain, it's uncertain to a lot of oil and gas entrepreneurs. If we can actually,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say like, oh, just because I don't know how to do that, or I don't know that they're going to come, I'm just going to assume that it might not happen. It's just fate. We're just meant to be oil and gas people.
Yeah.
Like that to me is like ultimately like where a lot of entrepreneurs go to die.
Absolutely.
Because if you're not, like, the way I see it is like once I have the platform ready and originated, and after I've spoken to as many data center companies as I talk to, and I hear from all of them, or if not 95% of them, that they're not interested, I'm not going to stop.
Right.
Yeah.
It's still possible.
Still possible. Yeah.
Right. That's the other mantra that is super critical, because the more I work on my traumas, the more that I try and the more that I iterate, and the less that I say things are left to fate, the more the right outcomes happen.
Right.
We've heard several founders say something along the lines of just because something hasn't been done that way before doesn't mean it can't.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, if it hasn't been way before, even better. Like the whole point is to innovate, evolve, grow. So it's exciting to see you conquer that and chase that head on.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it. It's been fun. It's I do have to go a second. But I wanted to say that there has to be some level of pragmatism to that,
Okay.
because a big thing is like it's very easy for people to like commit to an idea. Like the thing about ideas are like almost like empty calories,
Yeah.
right? Like a lot of people are willing to talk about things and say that things can be done.
Be willing to
Be
pivot.
willing, yeah, and like be willing to say like, oh yeah, the idea. That's like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Maybe we can do that. But like actually executing on an idea and making something happen, like there's the balance between like it hasn't been done yet and it should be done and fetched is like a very tricky balance.
I am learning to take all of these like lessons learned and mantras, and some of them seem like they conflict. The dogged determination, be willing to pivot, which is it? But I think they go hand in hand.
Yes.
And what makes an entrepreneur is knowing when to pull in what.
Right. It's all nuance.
Yeah,
right?
it's very
it's all
nuanced.
nuance. There's very hardly anything that's absolute and fixed.
Yeah.
Right. It's all nuance. I know you go. I've enjoyed the conversation.
Likewise. So
100%,
sorry, to cut it
and-
short, but
This conversation has been good. There are things
Absolutely.
I'm taking away that'll change
sure.
how I do business.
And I think it's the start of a lot more conversations. Right.
yeah, definitely would love to come back. I really enjoyed it. I think really appreciate what you're doing
Thank
for the ecosystem out here. I think it's very evident
Thank you.
that there's really good spirit and there's good service and there's good people behind what you're doing. So I think it's awesome. And thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm so excited to see you crush it.
Thank you. That's the goal.
Right, that's the goal. Real quick before you go, I haven't talked about this, but by the time this episode releases, there will be press releases, right?
Yeah.
About this, and then talking about the kids and helping, our community, our youth. Well, I'm partnering with Rope Youth, UTBB, and Lambo. We're putting together a youth entrepreneurial challenge.
Very
Oh,
cool.
I love it.
So would love to get the tech world involved in this.
Sure.
Right. I want to put this out there in the world, right? I'm speaking it into existence. We've been working on it, and things will be coming together. It will be released this coming month. Right? So there's a lot happening this next
Yeah.
month. But it's a project that we would really want to get an ecosystem around.
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Takes a community. And
it does.
That's
It
what we are
really
here in
does.
Midland. So we'll
Absolutely.
get it done.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for coming on Founders Focus, and looking forward to communicating with you for sure.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Ms. Gina?
I'm just so thrilled. I can't wait to hear what our listeners think of Jose Ortega and for us to all rally around Jose and his endeavors and champion him.
Excited for it.
Cheers, guys.
All right. Thanks. Hey, y'all have a good one. Stay tuned in for the next show.